Are you looking for a script and what to say to a for sale by owner who calls in off of one of your postcards when you have this objective of getting 2 listings per month? If you're looking for a script to talk to for sale by owner who's called in off of one of your postcards, then you're in the right place. Let's talk. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with 2 listings per month. And what I'd like to chat with you about in this video is we're going to get into this idea of what do you say when a for sale by owner receives one of your postcards, picks up the phone, and calls you. Okay, so how do you respond to their call in? And so I'm going to walk through a little script that I've created, and maybe it'll help you out. All right, so the first thing I'm going to say when somebody calls in, keep in mind, I am going out to a lot of different people with different marketing. So I've got to identify what category are they in, who are they, and what category are they in. In fact, I'm going to try to discover their name, determine the seller type. I'm going to answer their questions. I'm going to connect. I'm going to set an appointment, and I'm going to qualify. In fact, those are my goals for this inbound call. So the phone's going to ring, and I'm just going to do a little bit of role play here. I'll use myself. You can substitute your name in for mine. So here we go. Ring a ring. Hi, this is Mike. Okay, that's it. That's very simple. I just want to get right into it. And typically, the person on the other end of the line is going to say, "Hey, I'm calling about X." All right, so they've received the postcard, and there's something in there that's grabbed their attention. So I say, "Hey, excellent. Hey, I'm happy to talk about X. Who am I speaking with?" I want to quickly identify who this is. Most people are going to use a first name. So let's use Jill. She says her name is Jill. I say, "Hey, Jill. Hey, this is Mike Cerrone. What's your last name?" And she says, Hill. Great. So again, what I'm doing there is, again, most people are going to say the first name. I want to get the first and last name. So I actually have to two-step the question. Now, if they give me the first and last name at the beginning, I don't have to ask the second part. So now I know this is Jill Hill. And I say, cool. Hey, Jill, so I can answer your question properly. Are you selling your home by yourself, or did you hire an agent? All right, so I'm trying to identify are they a for sale by owner or an expired listing, because I'm sending out a similar postcard, if not the same postcard, to both groups. It depends on my marketing and where I am in my cycle and my testing. But oftentimes they're getting the same type of card or the same offer, the same message. So once they'll identify, they'll say, and so this is our script for sale by owner. So she says, well, geez, I'm selling my home by myself. And that's what I want to do. And I say, great. Let me tell you how that X thing works. Okay, whatever they asked about initially, now I'm going to go in and explain. What I've done, by the way, is I pre-established this. I looked at the card and I think, okay, they might call about this, they might call about that, they might call about this, and I'll just make a couple quick responses that I write out before any of this happens. So I kind of know what I'm going to say, so I don't babble on forever, because I have a tendency to do that. And so I'll say, hey, great, let me tell you how that works. I'm going to give them my 2 or 3 sentences on what it works. I'm not going to go too deep. And then I'm going to say, let me ask you. And I'm going to transition to the next part. All right, so let me go through that again real quick, because it happens pretty fast. I say, hi, this is Mike. And they say, hey, I'm calling about X. And I say, excellent. Happy to talk to you about X. Who am I speaking with? Oh, this is Jill. Hi, Jill. This is Mike Cerrone. What's your last name? Oh, it's Hill. Hey, Jill Hill. So I can help answer your question properly. Are you selling your home by yourself, or did you hire an agent? And, I'm selling my home by myself. Hey, great, Jill. Let me tell you how X works. And I say at the end of that, before they can say anything else, I say, hey, let me ask you. Okay, now we're going to transition into the for sale by owner segment of my scripting, where it goes specifically into these questions I want to chat about with them. So here's what it is. The next line is going to be, hey, Jill, I'm curious, can you confirm that you're selling your home by owner without an agent? I want to really nail that down and make sure I didn't get something wrong in my head. I want to make sure they are for sale by owner before I go down my for sale by owner script. Make sense? All right. So that's why I'm asking that question. I also am lining up the next question. If you've ever played pool or billiards, when you get really good at that game, you make the shot that you're shooting at, and then you're moving the cue ball, the white ball, you're moving the cue ball around to line up the next shot. So you don't ask a question unless you know what the potential answer is, so you can set up the next question. Okay, so that's the other reason I'm asking if they're for sale by owner, because I want to go into this next question. All right, so I've asked if they're for sale by owner and confirm that. They say yes. Say, hey, I got it. Hey, Jill, I absolutely respect your decision to sell on your own, regardless of what other agents say. You should be able to sell on your own in this market. I'm curious if for whatever reason you're unable to get the property sold on your own in, say, the next 30 days, would you consider meeting with me to potentially look at some other options? Whoa. Okay, so this is a bit dramatically different than what most agents do. Most agents call the for sale by owner up and they say, hey, you're a dummy. You're an idiot for trying to sell your home on your own. Don't you know how hard this is? Well, the seller doesn't want to hear that. Have you ever done anything on your own, right? Have you ever painted a wall in your house? You mean you didn't hire a painter? Right? You don't call the painter up and the painter says, boy, you're a dummy for painting your wall yourself. You might have been. It might not have turned out well, or maybe it did. But my point is, you don't want to become abrasive with these people. The opposite. You want to become their friend. You want to say, you made a good decision. If for some reason that decision didn't work out, though, hey, think of me as your alternative or your backup, right? Your plan B. So that's why I'm approaching it this way. And it's a way that works pretty good to calm everything down. So, hey, I absolutely respect your decision to sell on your own, regardless of what other agents may say. You should be able to sell in this market. I'm curious if for whatever reason you're unable to get the property sold on your own in the next, say, 30 days, would you consider meeting with me to potentially look at some other options? Most of them will say yes. Some of them you're going to be real excited because they're going to say things like, yeah, that's why I'm calling. I want to meet with you. Cool. All right. So that's the beauty of the dynamics of sending out the cards where they're calling you. It's all different in the perspective. If you've ever done cold calls where you're calling them and you're the aggressor and they're on the defense, this is all turned around. It's almost like they're the aggressor and you're on the defense. And by the way, you should be qualifying them, which we'll get to in the qualifying questions later. But now you get the point. So here we are. That's where it is. And now I'm going to do my 2 filler questions. And the next 2 questions are just to try to fill some space, to let us breathe after that last thing of them saying, oh, yeah, I talked to you in 30 days or so. I want to create some space between that and my final question, schedule an appointment. So I'm going to ask some questions about them and what they're trying to do. And I'm listening, I'm taking a lot of notes, but just keep in mind the goal of these 2 questions is to create that space so I can get to the next objective. So this is the next question. Hey, fantastic, Jill. When you sell this home, will you be staying local or will you be moving far away? Okay, I am curious about the answer to that question. And they're going to tell me what they're going to tell me. They're staying locally, and then I need to find out, are you going to buy? Are you going to rent? What you're going to do? Or are you moving far away? And if they're moving far away, hey, do you have another agent there to help you, etc.? Are you going to rent? Are you going to buy? What's going on? So this opens up a lot of dialogue. Keep in mind in all of this, you want to ask questions and let the prospect talk. You want them talking as much as possible because that's how people feel good about meeting you. Okay. People love to talk about themselves and you're giving them that opportunity. So that's kind of on the higher level psychological reason of why we're asking questions and sitting back and listening. Also, it's a great way to gather information and it is the best way to build a relationship. All right. So that's a question, and I'm going to go into the next question. After they answer that, I'm going to say, hey, makes sense. Hey, Jill, in a perfect world, how soon would you like to be moved and settled? Now I'm trying to find out their timeline and how motivated they are. Because if they say, oh, it takes 3 years, I'm okay. Or if they say, well, I gotta be in X spot in 30 days because I got a relocation, I got a job transfer, I got my kids going back to school, I got, whatever the reason is, that's what I'm listening for is some kind of motivation of why they need to have this happen. I need to get this, if it's a investor, I need to get it sold before the end of the year for tax purposes. These are the kind of motivators you're looking for. Or an investor, I got a vacant property and I'm getting killed on making my mortgage payment. Or I had a lead I saw the other day. I did some research on him. If you saw my other videos, I had a lead that came in that by text and I couldn't get back in touch with them. But when I did my research, I found out they were in foreclosure. So they have some timelines they're trying to meet, right? And I looked, they were like 45 days out before some big events. So anyway, you're trying to find out what's going on. All right. Now I'm going to move into the primary question that I want to ask so I can get an appointment set. And here it is. So I listen to him and I say, hey, I got it. Jill, what I'd like to do is I'd like to simply stop by one day this week and look at your home. And when I'm there, I can walk you through how my for sale by owner backup plan works. And then you can decide if it's something you'd like to consider doing at this time or later. Are you open to that? Okay, that's the big question. Oftentimes they're going to say yes because of the way that we phrased it. Okay, and a couple highlights I want to point out here is, see what I've done is I've transitioned from the first question was, hey, 30 days out or so. Now I'm saying, hey, let's get together this week. That's why I wanted some space between the questions. And so now I'm going to say, hey, let's get together someday this week. And when I'm there, we can walk you through my for sale by owner backup plan. They're often going to say, what is that? And I say, hey, I'd love to show that to you. That's in case your first objective doesn't work out for some reason of selling on your own. You have this as a backup, an alternative to getting your property sold, right? And they're usually going to say, yeah. Okay. And then you can decide if it's something you want to do at this time or later. You can even say the word not. All right. And then the last point is kind of key is you say, are you open to that? Because most people feel that they're open-minded. And so they're typically going to answer yes to, are you open to that? All right. So now they've given us permission to schedule a call and get together. And now we move to the next question, which is, hey, great, Jill, I can meet you at blank or blank, or would blank or blank be better? Okay, and what I mean by that is, hey, I can meet you Monday at 10 a.m. or I can meet you Tuesday at noon. Which would be better for you? And so I've given them the alternative close, which are alternative option close. So either option they pick, I win. Okay. And by the way, isn't that what happens when you call up your doctor's office? They say, well, we got an appointment available here and here. Which one's better for you? Yeah, because they're pretty smart as well. All right, so what we got there is that's how we're going to set the time. And then once we get that nailed down, we're going to go into the next part, which is, hey, perfect. Jill, I'll put you on my calendar. I'm going to send you an email with a copy of my resume so you know who's coming by. And also, you can review how my plan works and what's the best email to use. Cool. And if I have questions as I'm working on this, what's your best phone number? All right. So there I've gotten their email and their phone number. And the reason is because I gave them a reason to give me that information so they can get my resume and figure out who is coming by. Who is this person I'm talking to on the phone? Also, I told them they can review my plan. By the way, I'm going to send all that information out to them before I get there. All right. And then I say, hey, before I let you go, just have a few questions so I can prepare for our meeting. Now I'm going to go into the qualifying questions. Excuse me. We're going to do the qualifying questions on another video. But I wanted to show you how you would reply to a for sale by owner so that you could go figure out who they are, figure out what category they're in, figure out what their email and their phone number is, and most importantly, of course, set a appointment. Okay, we're going to go from this call in to scheduling an appointment. That is the primary objective of receiving these calls. is to set the appointment. And you'll notice what I'm going to do is I'm going to back around, and that's the very same phone call. I'm going to now go into pre-qualifying them, but I'm going to set the appointment first. Okay, I'm not going to pre-qual first. The old school was pre-qual first, and if they look good, then set the appointment. I'm going to set the appointment, and then I'm going to go back and pre-qual and make sure I'm going to keep the appointment. Hope that made sense. Well, we'll talk more about that later. I hope that this has been helpful to you. If it has, go ahead and give us a thumbs up on the video. And if you like this kind of information, you want to follow along with us on this journey, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you already have, thank you so much, and welcome to the journey. And if you have any questions about this script that we just went through, this for sell by owner inbound call script, go ahead and drop them in the comments section down below. If you're curious about anything we said, tell me if you like something or you dislike something or something has worked for you in the past or things haven't worked for you in the past. Go ahead and drop them down in that comments. Give me some feedback. Let me know how we're doing and what you'd like to know, so I can figure out how to help you move forward with your calls and get more appointments as they're coming in. All right. I hope this has been helpful, and really enjoyed you joining with us today. Take care. Bye now.